Lawmakers are contemplating the death penalty for those who kidnap Nigerians. And President Bola Tinubu has transmitted names to the National Assembly for ambassadorial appointment after a lot of pressure from Nigerians. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimaloye here in Abuja. Some breaking news right here on the station for you, which we can tell you about President Bola Tinubu's decision and order to declare a nationwide security emergency has ordered armed forces to recruit more personnel. Breaking news for you right here. President Bola Tinubu has declared nationwide security emergency and has ordered armed forces to recruit more personnel. We'll be bringing you details right here on the program. But let's begin by letting you know that the pressure has mounted so much on the president to say part of the problems, diplomatically speaking, which has fueled some local issues in Nigeria is the inability of the government of the day to appoint ambassadors. And today, the president has sent a list of 3 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation. The president forwarded the names of 3 non-career ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation. The nominees include Mr. Kayode Are of Ogun State, Aminu Dalhatu, Jigawa State, and Ayodele Oke from Oyo State. The letter of the president's decision to appoint these persons as ambassadors came to the Senate today and was read by the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, who thereafter directed the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs to review the nominations and report back to the chamber within 1 week. The breaking news that we're following for you is that President has declared nationwide security emergency and ordered armed forces to recruit more personnel. I will bring you more details on that right here on the program. But before we get started with our conversation tonight, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
Former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Idris Wase, is calling for a review of the order to withdraw the police from VIPs issued by President Bola Tinubu. The lawmaker says the categorization of VIPs needs to be spelled out as bandits are threatening to abduct politicians. Representative Wase said this during the resumption of debate on national security in the House of Representatives, where he informed lawmakers that there was a time when Boko Haram members were found on the list of recruits in the army and police. And amid several security concerns in the country, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has assured residents in the nation's capital not to panic, as everything is being done to ensure the protection of all lives and property in the territory. Mr. Wike said this while addressing a false report directing the closure of all government schools in the FCT during an expanded security meeting at his official residence in Abuja, and described the report as fabricated with an intent to deliberately tarnish the image of the government. The federal government has launched a nationwide financial education initiative to equip young Nigerians with the skills to earn, manage and grow wealth in a rapidly evolving economy. Speaking at the launch in Abuja, the Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, highlighted the government's commitment to empowering young people to succeed in business, investment and financial planning. He urged youth to take action by embracing the opportunities provided through the initiative.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. The breaking news right here on Channels Television. We can tell you that President Bola Tinubu has ordered additional recruitment into the Nigerian police force to combat security challenges. This is part of the order that he gave, declaring a nationwide security emergency. And amidst the rise in attacks and abductions by gunmen and suspected terrorists, the president earlier today declared the nationwide security emergency. And this is contained in a statement personally signed by the president. The president ordered additional recruitment into the Nigerian armed forces and the police force. And in Ogun State today, governors in the southern region of the country and some traditional rulers have met over the rising spate of attacks and insecurity in the country. They're coming together and seeking ways to resolving what has become a national emergency as lives and properties are being threatened. Some of the governors and leaders in the region are also asking for a comprehensive approach in fighting insecurity in Nigeria. Let me allow you to listen to the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun.
The vision of state police remains a non-negotiable component of our collective demand for true federalism and effective grassroots security. Our region has consistently advocated for a policing system that is closer to the people, more responsive to local realities, and better equipped to address the rapidly evolving threats that we face. The recent incidents across the country reinforce this urgency. A unified southern position of state police will not only enhance intelligence gathering and early warning capabilities, but also strengthen our ability to secure schools, farmlands, border communities, and critical infrastructure across our states.
All right, there, the governor of Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun. It was an intense and a rowdy session today at the floor of the Senate, and it was a debate about national security and the manner in which things have turned. Some of the lawmakers are asking critical questions as to how the military withdrew before the kidnappers and the terrorists came on the scene, and thereafter kidnapping some of the schoolgirls in that school in Maga. And the accusation is why this happened. There needs to be a probe, and there are accusations also of fifth columnists within the Nigerian military and security agency and their ranks. So there are critical questions. We tore the lawmakers in their debate asking for critical questions and answers from security agencies. But tonight, let's take the conversation forward. I'm being joined by those who are critically looking at this and the capacity of the government. A major opposition political party in Nigeria is the African Democratic Congress, ADC. The spokesperson was a former minister, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, is live for us here in our studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Well, my pleasure to be with you again.
Well, when it falls, it pours, right? And things are happening left, right, and center. Yeah. Even you are not left out. You are from Kwara State. You're a leader, politically speaking, from that state, a state where you served as a special advisor to become a commissioner, then becoming a minister, then you ran to become a governor. It means a lot, right?
Absolutely.
And you see that state falling apart because of the insecurity. Back to back in 7 days, there are 2 major attacks in Eruku, Ishakpa, and several other communities that are not really heavily reported. That side, Ekiti local government in Kwara State, heavily hit. And you look at, and that axis is around the border when you're traveling towards Kogi State. On the other hand, Osun and Ekiti. It means something that area is bombarded by the activities of these terrorists. But if you take that as a sample to a larger picture of what is happening in Nigeria, from Niger State to Kebbi State, these guys seem to have encircled us. Are you looking at it? Is there anything suspicious that all of a sudden, in this Ember period, this is happening? And so, shortly after Trump has spoken, this is happening.
Well, I mean, thank you very much. We had our own meetings today, and some of the issues we considered is what kind of conversation should we be having about the state of insecurity in the country, because you need to have a country before you can say you are contesting for any election where a political party. But what is more important to us at this time is that our country is faced with the kind of security challenge that we probably had never faced in our history. So the immediate issues that the question you asked it appeared that after President Trump made that statement on 31st of October, it does appear that at a point it was becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. It appeared that the criminal elements, the bandits and the insurgents, saw that they could actually put their finger on a particular pressure point of our nation. And because they got the global attention, terrorism without attention is nothing. So terrorists, apart from killing people, also want it to be reported, and that's why they come out to claim that we did this. So in the aftermath of that statement, we saw an escalation in attacks. That's when Iruku happened and a couple of others as well. But what we are disturbed about is that the government is not being honest with Nigerians. We are glad, we are happy that some of the kidnapped people have rejoined their family, whatever the government did. But if you listen to the conversation, if you listen to the rhetoric of government officials, I listened to the IGP of police, Egbetokun, who said, oh, the reason they did not arrest these kidnappers was because they came out by themselves and volunteered by themselves. So what it meant is that when criminals volunteered to come out and surrender their weapons, then they no longer have any liability to suffer under the law. That is one. Secondly, I will listen to Mr. Bayon Onuga, who said, oh, the reason the security forces did not attack the bandits was because they asked them nicely, and those people also say, okay, because you asked us nicely, we're going to. I mean, Bayon Onuga is someone I have a lot of respect for because of the work he has done in the media. But sometimes I think when he talks as if he thinks he's talking to morons, because when you say that all you did was that you asked them nicely and they released the captives, it insults intelligence of right-thinking people. What is clear to us is that government is making deals with kidnappers. Government is making deals with insurgents. Perhaps because there may be different considerations, but perhaps because they want a quick win, they want something to celebrate, then they will not hesitate to make the kind of negotiation or deals that they are doing. They are doing deals with insurgents. They can't deny that, But what happens is that when you make those kind
government is doing deals with?
Oh, I mean, they are doing deals with insurgents.
That's a heavy allegation.
Yeah, it's an allegation
of complicity of government.
It's not necessarily complicit. It's not really complicity. You see, the problem is that
these are terrorists.
Yeah, but okay.
And you're saying that the government is hands in gloves with terrorists.
Government said they engaged with them. Government said they leave the issue of how much they paid them, how they paid them. But the point is that for you to talk to them, you said you talked to them and they agreed to release the people they captured. Now it means that you are in contact with them, you knew them. So why didn't you arrest them? Has a single arrest been made? Because for you to talk to them, to agree to release the people they kidnapped, means that you know where they were. And you actually had conversations with them. Whether you begged them or you bribed them or you did whatever, then they agreed to release those people.
There is a video, right, Mr. Abdullahi, that I fear, because there's social media video and we're processing it.
Yeah.
Processing it to know the source, the time code, but it has an ammo tank. Yeah. Of the military, and you see that there was a military officer who came out from the ammo tank and gave one of the bandits who were and they had sophisticated weapons, all of them, young mid-aged boys who were on rampage and moving on motorbikes, and you could see another truck of police officers, Nigerian police force, and you see the military on the end there where the ammo tank, and they were relating freely, and they were moving around. That will be subjected to proper scrutiny to be able to know where exactly this video was taken, when it was taken, and the circumstances around it. But what you are depicting, and so the fact that the Kebbi State governor said, we did not pay them a dime. But you are suspecting to the extent that this government must have engaged them to the extent of maybe money exchange hands, or maybe there is a deal. Because if you see them Why not arrest them?
Then there were conversations. They had conversations with them. So you mean these people just agreed to surrender? They were asking, the real case, they were asking for 100 million per victim. So you mean you just went to them and say, okay, don't do this again, and they just say, okay.
Could it be for the greater good of securing the lives of these?
I'm not saying, I'm not questioning the intentions. The intention was to rescue these people, and that's what matters.
Pressure?
I think it could be, but what we are saying is that the probable unintended consequence is that government, if by doing deals with kidnappers, are unwittingly reinforcing the banditry economy. Because you see what happened in Ekiti local government, like you said, after the release of the Eruku churchgoers, what happened the following day? The very next day, they went to Isakpa, a neighboring community, and abducted 11 people. Up till now, those 11 people are still in captivity. So that is the danger of making deals with kidnappers, with criminals and terrorists. Because when you make this with them, you are actually admitting that you are powerless. You are actually showcasing your vulnerability, and you are encouraging them to do more. I have no doubt that the intention of government is to secure the quick release of the victims. We are glad that those victims have reunited with their family, but we are saying that the approach is not strategic, it's not sustainable. I'm glad now that President Tinubu we've been saying this forever, that government needed to escalate the security situation in the country. And we are glad that the president is finally listening and declaring the state of emergency. But again, we'll have to ask ourselves, what does that entail? And we'll have to watch in the coming days to see how this works. No, but for us, we are worried because let's take the issue of the schools that we have closed. When you closed schools because bandits could go and kidnap children, what you are saying is that I'm no longer capable of protecting my schools. And don't forget, the ideology of Boko Haram is Western education is forbidden. So by shutting down schools, you are reinforcing the Boko Haram ideology.
But again, is it not proactive? Do you have to wait until more students are kidnapped?
Can you protect your schools? Okay, let's take only the Unity School. Unity schools have how many? 47? Are you telling me that the Nigerian government does not have the capacity to protect 47 schools? Are you telling me that if you mobilize the Nigerian civil defense and give them equipment, they cannot protect 47 schools? So why is the government looking for easy way out? Look, because by shutting down these schools, now let me ask you a question, Sheil. What does the government need to see before they reopen those schools? When will the government be able to say the schools are now safe and the children can now go back to school? What would government need to see? Is it to put in place the right security arrangement? If they could do that, why didn't they do it? So government panicked, and they felt that the easiest way out was to shut down the schools. And I'm telling you that the issue of the Unity schools is just one instance. In northern Nigeria, so many schools have shut down. So, and that is why you see those who know are saying that we are endangering the future of our children. Terrorists are reshaping the future of Nigerian children. Because if we are kowtowing to them, if we are surrendering to them, we are allowing them to dictate how we run our society.
Let me know what the opposition and what you think about President Bola Tinubu's actions and reactions to what has happened in the past days. First and foremost, cancelled his trip to South Africa at the G20 meeting, cancelled his meeting to Angola, made a decisive decision on withdrawing the number of police officers that we don't even have enough to cover and protect citizens that are protecting politically exposed persons and VIPs. Already, one of the lawmakers is already scared because the lack of protection on them as politicians portends danger to their lives, and already saying you have to define what a VIP is, because some of them are now being threatened in their localities. Now, he took a decision again today, this evening, saying there is a state of emergency on security in Nigeria, more hiring in the army, more hiring in the police. We need more boots on the ground. These are those who will say this is an action of a man who is resolute in fighting the challenges. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, we must commend the president for the latest action of declaring the state of emergency on security, because that's what they ought to have done all along. We have said it repeatedly that the government needed to raise security alert in the country, and we are glad that he's finally responding. But you see, this is not the first time that they say, oh, we are withdrawing policemen from VIPs. Even today, I saw so many VIPs and I still saw policemen with them. So is it that it has not taken effect? Some of these things government said, and like we said when it was first announced, we say it's just drama. It's not strategy. Saying that you are withdrawing police from VIP is good for the headlines. But in real terms, what does it mean? Look, the security situation in this country, and like you mentioned, you say you saw a video and you saw the kind of sophisticated weapons that is in the hands of these insurgents. With due respect to the police, and I know our Nigerian police can do a lot, but what we are saying is that a police system that is demoralized, that is demotivated, if you know the condition under which this police, our police officers, our policemen serve, you will feel sorry for the Nigerian state. Go to the barracks and see where these policemen live. So there are a lot of issues here. Do they have the capacity to combat these insurgents? You know, recruiting, you recruit 100,000 or 50,000 more policemen. Then you start training them today. You are preparing, you are recruiting your soldiers when the war has already started. Well, it's better late than never. But what we are saying is that there is a lot of structural issues that we need to address as well. The question is, like you said, who gave information? Who directed the security in that secondary school? Who called them to withdraw from the place? Who called them to withdraw before the militants went to the school to attack children? So there are a lot of things, but overall, we are glad that the president is taking this decision. So we'll see where it leads us in the coming days.
So if you do the mathematics, for example, and I guess the reason why some of the lawmakers are unhappy, and I would pay attention on the National Assembly, and without having to look sometimes at the State Assembly. But for example, let me give you an example. We have 109 senators.
Yes.
Let's assume, because police protection don't come in single,
maybe two or three.
Yeah. So let's say two people are protecting one senator.
Yes.
2 police officers times 109, it gives you 720. You have, it's give you 218, sorry. You have 360 members of the House of Reps.
Yes.
Let's assume 2 of them are protecting them.
Yes.
So it gives you 720.
Yes.
If you put all the numbers together, it's a little short of 1,000.
Yes.
Only. And not talking about those ones who are guarding the institution itself. And I know that the Senate President has more than 2.
Yes.
The Deputy Senate President has more than 2. The Speaker of the House has more than 2.
Yes.
The Deputy Speaker has more than 2. The leaders have more than 2. And you look at it. So let's assume that about 1,000 plus are guarding the National Assembly and the lawmakers every day. And we have less than 60 what's it called now? Unity schools in Nigeria.
Yes.
Are you saying 1,000 police officers cannot safeguard these schools? That's on one hand.
Yeah.
Look at 36 states of the Federation, and you have a minimum of 15 members of the Assembly, and they have another 2 per member of. It's just a mess that we have. Less than 450,000 police officers, over 100,000 guarding VIPs. But that you said today that not all of them, and I'm not sure if that is being executed. And the president needs to pay attention to that. If you give an order as a president, and this is not the we've had it several times. A lot of the IG, even roadblocks. When you say dismantle roadblocks go back, and you see police officers going back to the roadblocks.
This year alone, we've had it twice. And I'm telling you that this forest guard that they have just recruited to augment the police, we see them around now in towns following VIPs. Even the new forest guard that they have recruited. You know, so what I'm saying is that when you say this, the whole thing is about leadership. The whole thing is about governance. It's about whether this government has the political will. I mean, we keep saying it's better late than never, but if this government had done what they ought to have done in the last 2 years, we'll probably not be in this mess that we are in. Why did it take President Trump making a statement for us to start jumping around and remembering that we could declare a state of emergency, we could withdraw policemen from VIP, we could do all this dancing around? Why did it take President Trump making a comment before the president remembers that he needed to nominate ambassadors? So it's a ridiculous system. This government in the last 2 years have been obsessed with politics and politicking. That's all that concerned them. So now they are doing all this fire brigade thing because but I'm glad that the National Assembly people who are singing on your mandate we shall stand, now they are the same people now complaining maybe because their security is. So the important thing we need to pay attention to, I pray that whatever government is doing works, because like you said, my state is directly affected. Many other states are affected. We have relations all over the place. And this is a matter of life and death situation. So when we talk like this, we're not talking just as partisan. We are talking because we are Nigerian citizens. And we want whatever government is doing to work, because we need to have a country to be able to play politics. We need to have people in place before. I mean, if this situation continues, we may not even be able to conduct a credible election. So we are glad that we pray that this works. But what we are saying is that this government should pay attention to what they need to do, because hey, in the midst of all this, what happened yesterday? The president already appointed a campaign DG for 2027 election. So what does that communicate? What does that say?
But, I mean, there are also concerned that some of you in opposition are feeling this.
We are doing what?
Some of you in the opposition are feeling this.
How are we feeling this?
Some of you have your delegates already in Washington, D.C., preaching against the country.
No.
Preaching
we don't have
hope of bringing down the
I can tell you the African Democratic Congress does not engage in that kind of politics. That's what APC did. That's what they did. They were the ones. If APC were to be in opposition today, they would have heated up this country so badly that the government will not be able to do anything.
You are one of the strategists at that time.
No, I wasn't.
You worked with Dr. Kayode and you were...
No, I wasn't part of that. We were doing policy. We were
in the policy.
No, we're doing policy strategy.
The people who are... Some of you who work in the background.
What I'm saying...
Yourself, Dr. Kayode, a whole lot of you were the think tank. You are the brain box of the APC in the beginning.
I can tell you that I know exactly what I did with the APC and I can defend my record with the APC. But what I'm saying here is that today, when you say that the opposition ADC or whatever opposition is in Washington, D.C., we don't do that kind of politics. And that was why we devoted our meeting today discussing what alternatives we can prefer to what the government could do, right?
On the final note, Mr. Abdullah, and there is a worrying trend in parts of Africa. Today, there's a story about military officers in Guinea-Bissau who have announced a coup, are taking total control of that country. They've suspended the electoral process. They closed the borders. And 3 days after the country legislative presidential elections, and that country is now in the hands of the military. And total control of the electoral process, elections that just took place a few days ago. And this is worrying because this trend, with the pressure overseas, and the rumors of a coup d'etat and what we are seeing in our neighborhood, how serious do you think are politicians? And some of you who are in the hilk, how serious do you think governance could be? Nigerians can never be taken for granted any longer.
No, you see, like I've repeatedly said, we are in this mess today as a country because of the kind of politics we have played. The political elite have lost the trust of the people, we lost the confidence of the people because repeatedly, the ordinary people don't feel that this democracy is working for them. We have a duty to make democracy work for the people. We have a duty as political elites to make the people know that the reason we are in office is to serve them. If we don't do that, God forbid, anything happen like that, Nigerians, especially young people who never lived under the military rule, will probably think that is a path to salvation. It's only those of us who have lived under military rule know that it's not an option for any country, and that we have to protect this democracy with whatever we have. But government, and I will say this, and this is quite significant, and this is why government has to realize that destabilizing opposition political party does not help democracy. Democracy is not just about filing out to vote. It's about the quality of conversation, the options that it gives to citizens. So if government makes it a policy to destroy all opposition political parties so that they will be the only party existing, they are undermining democracy. They are doing what enemies of democracy do, and they have to stop it.
Bolaji Abdullahi is a spokesperson of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Thanks so much indeed for that.
Thank you, my pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Always.
Take a break, everyone. But when we return, more on this security, we're taking our eyes off it, and our attention will be on taking out all the VIP protection that police in Nigeria are doing. What is the implication? More danger or a good strategy and a way forward for our country? We'll be right back, because AIG Yaro will be giving us insight on what this means. We'll be right back. Everyone for staying with us. So there is some traction on the order of the president for the withdrawal of police officers from VIP protection duties and to be returned to normal policing duties. So we understand now from a communication that was made available, the Special Protection Unit of the Nigerian Police Force has ordered all officers attached to VIPs and beats nationwide to return to their bases. It came after a directive issued by President Bola Tinubu on the 23rd of November, who ordered the immediate withdrawal of police officers assigned to VIP security across the country. There was a memo by the commanding officer of the SPU Base 16 in Lagos, Neji Veronica, and in that memo, that instructed that all police personnel attached to the VIPs, the commanding officers, to return back to base. I'm being joined tonight on the program to advance this conversation. Retired AIG Abutu Yaro is live for us here in our studio. Thank you so much, AIG, for joining us tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
How fast, first and foremost, how fast could this redeployment is a redeployment? Because basically, if you're taking away from your present deployment, is a redeployment. Going back to base, how fast can this arrangement be? Because I know it cannot be immediate.
It is immediate. Directives in the police system is always with immediate effect. An immediate effect connotes that you start the implementation activities immediately. Implementation can be in phases, but it must be seen to be in action immediately. But we must emphasize strongly that we implement it with serious caution. If not, the fallout of a hasty implementation of this directive, the fallout will be regrettable in many respects. And we have historical antecedents to this mindset. For example, we're here in this country when policemen were withdrawn from the late Bola Ige 2 to 3 hours after they withdrew them in his house. What happened has stand as one of the most difficult part of our national history. What happened thereafter? We are equally aware in this country that a VIP in the name of Funshaw William had no opportunity of police being with him. And what happened to him in his house at Ikoyi some years ago, a good number of us who are in the security business, we have not forgotten. Another situation that occurred in this country arising from this VIP withdrawal of policemen or security aides, it happened to late General Muhammad Shua in Maiduguri. Security details were not within his precincts, and he was terminated in his house. Another one was former PDP South Vice Chairman, National Vice Chairman South, one Chief Dikibo or whatever, operating without security details. What happened to him became another sore point in our national history.
So it is dangerous for VIPs. We don't have what it takes, or we don't have a crime an environment that can protect, or that people can feel free, especially when you're politically exposed or a VIP?
Sure.
We have a porous environment.
Not necessarily porous. We have inadequate security environment. For example, in Africa, the first three major populous countries are Nigeria, Egypt, and Ethiopia. With our population of 230 million people, we are still operating with police strength of less than 500. Egypt, with a population of 106 people, they have a police strength of about 1 million.
Yeah.
Ethiopia, with a population of 96 million, they have a police strength of about 970,000. But yet we are here with a population of 230 million, running a police organization with less than...
So you stand logic on its head, isn't it?
It's not a problem.
Because just a moment, we have about 450,000 police officers. Maybe in the last few months, their recruitment not up to 50,000, I understand. So we have less than 500,000. Now, out of that, those red berets bearing officers are what they call the SPU, the Special Protection Unit of the Nigerian Police Force. They are the ones who are deployed to guard VIPs and all whatnot. And about 100,000 from records and report are guarding VIPs in the country. How can you take 1/3 of your security personnel to guarding less than 1% of your population? Isn't logic being stood on its head?
Well, in a way, that concept stands logical. But in many ways, that concept is illogical. In security calculus, it's not the number of people in an environment that matters, but the strategic importance and influence that matters. Therefore, in a policing a district, people who have strategic value in terms of eminence, they are more prone to adverse criminality, much more than people who are otherwise.
But
and therefore, in security planning,
so you will
secure the vulnerability.
So you secure the few.
Not the few per se.
Against the advantage of the...
security design comes in various ways.
But
there are some security design that will entail that somebody has to be around you 24 hours. The security design can be that somebody will patrol in your area, your district, within 24 hours, without necessarily being within your precinct. So the design of deployment differs in as design or as instigated.
So the order of the president is not practicable. That's what you're saying.
That is not what we are saying. The implementation has to be
selective.
Not selective. The implementation must be with caution and.
You think the president is not guarded operation-wise, because you're talking operation historical fact that you have reeled out, how the order of the president might endanger and cause a lot of danger. But you're not the first person that is saying it. Just for a moment.
Yeah.
Honorable Wase, the deputy speaker of the former deputy speaker of the House of Representatives, today on the floor I said, look, there are already threats on our lives if you take away our protection. These are members of the National Assembly. But the question is that the president did not make that order in isolation. He said in that order that men of the NSCDC should now take over that responsibility. Isn't that a fair enough arrangement to cover for the withdrawal? Must police officer guard? Is it not to safeguard? So anybody could guard them so far people are secured. Is that not what works?
Oh, Mr. Shegu, it is not so. Nobody is contesting the validity, the necessity, otherwise, of presidential. All of us are duty bound to implement whatever the president says. But what we are saying is that implementing agencies, that is particularly the Office of the Inspector General of Police, has to do more of homework in this implementation. If not, the fallback will be more disastrous to national security. We are not saying that. It is not in a very simplistic way, as you are putting it. The fact that they say civil defense should come in does not really work in that way. Civil defense all over the world, they are designed to take care of civilians in terms of national emergencies. Civil defense, not only in Nigeria, all over the world, are not designed to protect VIP and act as an alternative security platform to the police.
But we are not.
I'm not saying
in a normal situation, right?
Whether we are normal or not,
we
are running a country, and we operate in a committee of nations, and we must not do things that will make us to become more laughing stock in the committee of nations. It is a little bit. How do I put it? It's a little bit out of implementation. To say police get out from here, civil defense come out. It's just like telling a nurse to go and do the duty of a doctor. We must do this thing in circumspect. What
would you advise that the president? I mean, what do you think the president could have done differently?
What I think
if you were the president, would you have made that same order?
I wouldn't have ordered that police will leave VIP, because the VIPs are a very important segment of our nationhood.
More important than the
Not more
population.
important. I say very, very. All human beings are equal, but our quantum to national growth and development varies. Our quantum, even in a communist environment, policy makers, decision makers, the quantum of attention and care accorded to them by the state is different from ordinary people on the street.
What would you have advised the president?
What I would have advised is that we could have increased the number of our police. Our mobile police, we have about 80 squadrons as we speak. We should have upgraded them to semi-military format as they were with the concept when they were introduced into our security system in 1962, whereby in a state you have up to 10,000 men under the mobile unit staying in a large barracks, operating with military format, with advanced training, advanced equipment, ready to go and ready to neutralize any threat to national security. That's what we would have done. Over the time, we have weakened and dismembered our mobile police in particular.
The military caused that.
Well, I wouldn't know who caused that.
Just remember, I mean, some of us have the history. I've read a lot of books about what has happened. Now, the danger was that the mobile police officers, they are well trained.
Sure.
And they were the ones that will go and quell any kind of uprising.
Sure.
They were very skilled, more than the military, more than any form of security agency.
Sure.
The mobile police, the one we call Mopol.
Yes.
They were different from what they were 40 years ago.
Exactly. Because
they are very strong, they are well trained, they have some military training, they have police training, and they could calm any kind of security. At the time, from what we know, a Mopol can actually take on 3-4 persons. One mobile police officer can actually take on 3-4 persons. That's how they were trained. But the military felt that at the time that these guys are becoming more powerful. They reduced their military training, and in that sense, mobile police was reduced. But then we are what we have in our hands. And I know that operation-wise, if the president would have made an order for more personnel to be recruited, it would take a minimum of 3 months to recruit, 6 months to train, another 3 months to embed and assimilate them into the system. That means we're looking at a 1 year before the order of President Bola Tinubu that he has given today to take effect, operation-wise, logistic-wise.
I do not think so. My thinking still remains that within the context of what we have, let us improve our mobile police service delivery and recruit more men into the police. It's still the same Nigeria. We can look at what our neighbors are doing. We know we have national emergency. More training has to be given. And we can recruit more people and do emergency training within 3 to 4 months. We get them out of police colleges, and they'll be on the street.
Sorry, sir. Let me ask, and we are due for a break now.
Thank you.
An average police officer, how long does it take to train them?
6 months.
6 months. And I'm giving you, because I do a lot of strategy.
I know.
Before you can do recruitment, you will make announcement.
Sure.
And this is a civil service procedure.
I understand.
So you cannot recruit anybody in 3 weeks.
I understand.
If you take a minimum of 1 to 3 months, you train in 6 months. When they get out, won't they go, as soon as you release a trained police officer, where does he go first? He goes back home because he's been in training for 6 months. It takes another 1 to 3 months to be able to assimilate. I know what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
1 year, that's what you need for this order to take effect. But we'll take a break, everyone, and we'll wrap up this conversation with this experienced police officer. We'll be right back. For staying with us. On a final note, with my guest here, Yaji Abutu Yaro, if you were president, as is declared a state of emergency today, what do you think should be immediate step in quenching or calming now? Just 30 seconds so we can close.
The immediate step will be taking most of this security proclamation by making them silently, not overtly. Because overt proclamation about intentions and design of security format can give another encouragement to criminal elements.
Thank you so
much. In order to outwit
AIG Abutu Yaro, thank you so much indeed for your time. I appreciate it. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimaloye. God bless Nigeria.